Today on D6 Spanky, we're showing you how to replace a radiator on a 98 Infiniti i30. Okay, let's go learn something. I said D6 Spanky. The letter D, the number 6, Spanky. One of the most important tools you're going to need for this job is a pan to catch all the radiator fluid. This radiator fluid, it's coolant. What's coolant do? Keeps your car cool. That's for another video. We're not into that right now. This one's freshly cleaned out for this project, but do know that these radiators, all radiators, often make a huge mess. So be prepared to clean that up, because if any animals get into it, it will kill them. It's sweet to the taste. Not that I've tasted it. It's sweet to the taste, and animals like to drink it. So do keep your furry friends safe and keep them away while you're working on this project. Underneath the cold air intake here, we have this crack. It's quite the bright day today, so I'll try to keep my shadow out of the way as much as possible. But looking at this, I hadn't been able to, well, now it's kind of obvious, but I wasn't able to find, doing the pressure test, it wasn't building pressure, couldn't find the issue, and then I finally filled it all the way to the very, very tip top, and here's our problem. That crack right under there, just hiding low, and so, yeah, if this was off, it would have been completely, totally obvious, but it was a fun little, short little journey to find the problem. I had a feeling it was somewhere along the top, but I didn't know it was quite so big, and this was pinned down where I couldn't get to it, and I didn't have the tools at the time, but did find the problem, and so we're going to change this out real quick. And one of the first things we're going to do is we are going to remove this just to get out of the way, and so we're going to undo this plug here, and then just pull it straight out. That's all. Okay, and there's the second one that needs to be undone. And if we pull back, you can see it's far under there. It's kind of hard to see with this bright, bright, beautiful sunshine that we have today. So we'll disconnect that, and then we'll be ready to take this one off. Alright, I had to grab my handy dandy pliers. Hose pump pliers here. Why are we disconnecting all this to get to this? Because really, sometimes it's just easier. There'll probably be lots of people that disagree, but sometimes it just is. Sometimes we get just tired and we get smashed up, and everything in the way, getting hurt. Or something that took like 5 seconds, and I could easily get to it instead of scratching up my arm and being frustrated. Okay, now then we're going to undo this clip, same as the one above. Since this is plastic, it's okay for it to rest here. A lot of people are going to say, oh, why don't you disconnect the battery? I just don't feel it's necessary for this project. That's why. You don't have to disconnect the battery every single time you work on it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look in here, and I'm going to look for the plug so I can drain the coolant, which really I should have started at the beginning. It's not that big a deal. Usually when you're getting set up, get your tools together, drain the coolant out. Right now, underneath the vehicle, we do have these little shrouds and stuff in the way from allowing it to drain well. But what you do is you look for the hole, and there's the hole, and usually that is where coolant will come out. And there it is right there. Alright, we'll see how well we can film this. If you watch my 54 Chevy coolant video, you'll see it has not always gone well. But, so we have the container below to catch everything, and it's pretty well centered, and so now we're just gonna always hate this part. See? Just never know. And then it's still dripping out here. Comes up. Slows down, we'll move back this way and take it out the rest of the way. Just kidding. Alright, so now if it didn't have a giant gash hole in it, one thing you can do to make it easier to drain is you remove the cap. We're going to set this aside on the bumper here. And it'll drain out. Now luckily for me it did make a bit of a mess, but since I filled it with about 75% water to just try and find the issue since it's the middle of summer. Don't do that in the winter. Bad idea. Anyway, so now we're going to get that down, and we're going to just start disconnecting hoses and overflow. So overflow with that. Pull through out of the way. I'm going to disconnect sensors here, and this one, you know what, we're going to disconnect just to have clearance. We don't need to disconnect it. We'll disconnect this one, and we're going to try and pull it out with a fan shroud attached. There's another thing that needs to be disconnected. And so we'll have, there's a couple little tabs holding these, securing these wires into place. So we'll undo those as well. And then we'll undo these. Here are these little bolts that are holding that down. And that really just, surely is going to be a little more than that, but it sure doesn't seem like it. This could be a real easy job. Alright, so now the coolant is all drained out. If you're never sure, you can just squeeze on these, but I'm dang sure, so I'm going to put these back. These are in good condition, so we will not be replacing these. And then the lower one, which is always fun, is on the other side. Then it might be easier to get to taking the panel off below. Now the catch to getting to the lower radiator hoses, we have to take this off. And there's been some problems with this one in particular. I'm not sure why it's out so far. So this has been bumped a little bit, and you can see this little lip and whatnot. So it's a 10 millimeter, but it's not going to fit in a 10 millimeter. So luckily though, it does have a screw, so we'll just go ahead and take this panel right here off. That's gonna suck. If I get these off, then I'm going to clean them up so it's not a problem for the next person. Both panels need to come off from the beginning because you'll need to access some hose under here. You could reach around this way, but really it's not that hard to take these off. Alright, so these screws couldn't hold up to my extended reach ratchet. And then we've got just 3 in the front to take off. I didn't think about those. We'll yank those off real quick and be on our way. So you can see with this pan removed, it's quite easy to get to the bottom clip now. Totally worth the effort. Where's my arm? Yes, totally worth the effort to get to. Here's the bottom clip, easily accessible with this pan gone now, and easy to get to. You can see there seemed like it was probably leaking in another spot as well. Since there could be some coolant hanging out here in the bottom part, we're going to move the, put the plug for the pan back in, and then we're going to move this over here underneath this hose before we disconnect it, because this is where it's going to be more likely that all the fluid's going to come out, if there is any to come out. So what was I talking about? So there's this hose here that comes up and attaches, and there's another one on this side, so this whole panel is going to have to come off as well. Alright, well I can't see anything through the camera, so I can't tell exactly how much you can see, but we'll just disconnect these 2 little hoses from underneath. Alright, now it's time to check out our radiator. Oh, it's not damaged. They're just little dark spots. Alright, so it comes with these little yellow caps, thank goodness. And we're going to take these and we're going to put them on where these lines go so they don't drip oil all over everything. So you don't need to make a mess all over your shop or your driveway, your garage, wherever you do this. Try to plan ahead just a smidge and you'll be able to save yourself a lot of time from a lot of cleanup. Cap these off. Now this is the one on the passenger side, so we're going to pull this out and then put this cap on. So on the driver's side I actually had to clamp off this this hose. Now what this hose is, transmission oil lines. So they get cooled. They come through in the bottom of the radiator, it cooled down. Alright. Again, we are pulling out with fans. Watch your connector here, make sure you're not ripping it apart. You also don't want to bang your AC component here. Awesome. To remove the fans, we just have two 10mm bolts. You could have done, oh, those wouldn't be able. No problem. Nice. Nice. So now what do? We're going to switch out the new radiator, sit it here and set this in just the same as we took it out. Alright, this is going to be the last time this thing looks so pretty. And don't forget to remove the rubber boots off the bottom of your old radiator, because you'll need those for your new radiator. Any of these hoses you're putting on, if you do a little light spray of silicone, it'll make it go on way easier. Just no fighting. Alright, well thanks for checking out channel D6 Spanky here on YouTube. If you found this helpful and helped you get through a job, please leave a comment in the comment section below. If you just enjoyed watching, comment in the comment section below. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at D6 Spanky. And Facebook at facebook.com/channel D6 Spanky. Feel the need, feel free to help support me here on patreon.com/D6 Spanky to get more videos coming out and to get the Volkswagen Bug on its way. Thanks guys.